Good morning, Sam. For this video, I'm going to take you on Git, from moving files from the command line to using Git and posting to GitHub. And also at the end, I'll be showing you how to set up the projects that we already have on ground. I already added you. Still waiting for you to accept the invitation. Anyway, you're going to find it in your email, anyways. So let's get started. Basics for anyone to know is that you need to be able to use the command line. That's one thing. You need to be able to use the command line. You might get away with using the git bash for Windows, that GUI application. You might still be able to get away with it. Or if you are using something like VS Code and you have the git set up in it, and you have the git in it, so from here you can do basic things that you're going to run the git command for. So this is our terminal, but let me just switch to this for now. So the basics for this is you have to be able to navigate. So the basic ones is just remove, create new file, then copy your present working directory. You don't need more than that for this. You really don't need. You really don't need more than that. So just basics. pwd shows us our current directory. If you're on Windows, you will notice it is not written this way. It is written with the C, which is your home part, C users, then your username, then wherever you are. So right now I'm in home. My home is home/my username on Linux. I'm using Ubuntu. So next thing is I'm able to make file. So we have the command, we have the make directory. The other one we have cp for copy. We have mv for move, and then we have cd to change directory. So just to create a basic example here, I'm going to create a folder on my desktop just to show you. So here is my desktop. So this is my desktop, and then I'll be navigating to my desktop. So from here, this is my home. If you notice, this is home/Webanski. As you're looking at it, that contains all my files. That contains all the files that you're looking at right now. So that is where my desktop is, my documents, my downloads. So if I was supposed to open properties here, you will notice this is Webanski, the name. So and it is the parent folder is home. Same thing applies with Windows, not so different anyway, just conventions. So to navigate into my desktop, I go into my desktop, and one thing, you can use tab to autocomplete. You just tab it twice, it brings out the different things you can type. So just to demonstrate, this is my desktop. To list out, that's ls, it lists all the files that are there for you. So Abdulwahab, all the files including the folders. As you notice, there are different color shades which shows the different level of permission. Right now, but we are going to talk about that later. I don't think that will be in this tutorial. Sorry. So the other ones, you notice the ones in blue are the actual folders. As you can see, the first one is in blue, though it's highlighted in green. Then the other one that is in blue is backup, and the third one is paste. So then to create a directory, it's just mkdir as it sounds. Make directory, then the name of the directory you want to make. So for the purpose of this, I'm just going to call it tests. As you can see, we have a new directory. So if I was to list everything out here now, I type ls. As you can see, we're still in the same directory. So cd test, I type t and I press tab. Just shortcuts, not really necessary though. You can type out everything in full, but it will save you some time to just autocomplete the thing. That's why it is there. So testing. So to create a new file, I can just, for the purpose of this project, I'm going to create a new file, and I can create a index.html file. When you want to create a new file, just type everything with the extension. It will automatically create it for you. If you type with that extension, you are just creating a normal text file. So that one is there by default. So if I list out the folder now, we have index.html. We have only index.html. Also, like I said, to copy and to move, to copy index.html, you can copy it inside another directory, or you can copy this same one and rename it into something else. Like I can call it just in.html. It's going to copy the same file and name it as index.html. So as in.html. So it's still the same file but duplicated. For moving, let's create a new folder. I'm just going to stay inside the tests folder for now. So I'm just going to create a new folder, mkdir, like I said, and let's make it 1. So for this one now, I'm going to move my in.html into 1. Move in.html. All I just need to do is in.html tab, then move it inside way, move it into 1. I press enter, it moves it inside. If you want to move it and rename it at the same time, what you just need to do is, once you type 1, just type whatever name you want to call it. Maybe you want to change it to 1.html. This will fail because there is no in.html inside our current directory anymore, because we have already moved it. So we really have the 1 folder. So to see it, go inside 1, and then if we list it out, we have in.html. I'm using this file explorer just to show you what we are doing visually, but everything that you can do visually can be created on the terminal too. So then the next one is just basic remove in.html. It removes these ones. If so, also there are something called flags too. There's -r, there's -f. This will be useful if you want to remove maybe a whole folder, and there are so many files in it and you don't want to click yes every time. So maybe for some that are rights protected, just R is recursive, goes into every, if it has subfolders, it goes to every subfolders and delete everything. And also F, forcefully, so it won't ask you for a yes or no permission. You are basically telling it to use force, so you are using force, so why do you need permission? So remove directory, there is also remove directory, but still tell you if the folder is empty or not. Just use rm straight up, it removes everything with the recursive flag and you are good to go. So I think this is just the basics for everything: moving, deleting, and then also notice the command touch. I use touch to create a file, touch to create a file. Then if we go back, cd, to go back you can use cd instead of going back. If to go back, cd dot goes back by one directory. So we have the tests, sorry, let me just, so we have tests. So if you go back one step, we are now inside test. If you go back another step, we are now inside desktop. You get? So we are going back one step. If I list this out now, you see we are inside test. We are inside test. It goes back by one directory. So to move forward, just type the name of the directory and move forward. Dot is to go backwards. And also what we have been doing since morning is called relative paths. We have been using relative paths to navigate our directory since morning. Sure. So absolute paths, the difference is, okay, there are two types: absolute and relative. Absolute is the path from the beginning, from the very beginning, which is slash. The slash is, oh, I'm starting, where should I go next? The C directory, your Windows, the home directory or the var directory or the etc directory on Linux, right? But here, this is the beginning of the file. And notice it's going to be this slash, the backward slash, not the forward slash on Windows. Not sure which environment you are. I think I was trying to confirm that last time, but no matters, still works the same. So to get to tests in absolute paths, you start from cd slash, then home, then Webanski, then what again? Desktop. You notice at the beginning we are in home, we are inside home already. That's why I just did cd to desktop. I can do it this way, or I can do it this way if I'm inside my home directory already. If I run pwd, you notice I'm inside my desktop. If I want to get to documents, take a look at this. Documents and desktop are inside the same environment. I don't need to do this. I don't need to go from absolute path up to documents. I can do it, it works just fine, but let me just change it back to desktop. So to change it back to desktop, just to demonstrate now, instead of doing it over, I can go back one directory. Then if I go back, you see, for example, visually, I'm inside my home, I go to desktop, I want to get to documents. All I need to do is go back into home, then enter desktop. In GUI, what you need to do is go back, then enter desktop, and you are inside your desktop. Notice the files are changed, the folder names here. This symbol here is called the tilde. It is the one beside one on the left of your number one key on top of tab. It is just a representation, it's an alias for home directory. So it's an alias for home directory. If I was supposed to cd to this, you will notice we are back at home. It's an alias for home directory. So home, which is the same thing as this, so I can basically do this tilde slash desktop, sorry, and I'm inside my desktop. So that's the difference between relative and absolute path. Relative path from my house here to OAU, I don't need to tell the person to start all the way from Lagos airport. That would be absolute path as relative to Nigeria. So from here I can just tell the person, from my own point of view, all you just need to do is take a bus all the way from OHHC stage to OAU. That is relative path. But absolute path can work for anybody, but relative path means you have to get to the path I am first before you can continue your journey, regardless of where you are. So just describing Nigeria to someone, absolute path, we're inside Nigeria, why do I need to do that for relative path? But absolute path start from maybe outer space or something, you get it? No. Okay, so I think that was basically everything about navigating. Not everything anyway, but just the basics that you need to get started. So I'm just going to, so now for Git, you have to make sure you have Git installed. For Windows, you install an application called Git Bash. So once you just go to Git Bash and download it, it works for Windows just fine. On Linux, you don't need to, just you can install your Git, you can install Git through your terminal. So to confirm that you have Git installed, you can just run git-v. These are called flags. Oh, sorry. Once you see me put a dash, like the dash rf I told you about the other time, once you see me put a dash or double dashes, they are flags. That's how they run commands. So this is the tool itself. The Git is the tool itself, but it can take other commands. So like now if I was to run -v, okay, sorry, maybe was it dash version. So I have Git running, so I'm installed. If it is not installed, it will tell you Git is not installed and it's not okay. But once you install Git Bash and using it from Git Bash, it is installed already. So all you need to do is just get started. So let's go back to the directory we're using to test. CD and then test. So as you can see, ls, that's LA. That's because that's capital letters. Sorry. So to continue with this, the next thing we need to do is, for any Git project, we have something called repositories. Repository is just your project folder. This is test. Test is my repository. It's also my Git repository. It's also my Git folder. But we have not initialized it yet. So Git doesn't know about its existence. I'm sure you know what Git does. It basically helps you track your file changes over days, over years, or how long, whatever you have been working on it, and keep track of the subtle little changes of everything that changes in that file. So probably too much repetitions. So that's just the basics. You should read up more on Git. So today I'm just going to take you on how to create a Git project locally and up to the point of pushing it to GitHub and every other thing. So now the first command is git init. Git init, take note of this command. So git init, so the response I get is initialized empty Git repository. And if you see this now, it told you is initialize it inside tests and another folder called .git. .git. Why we can't see it here? Because on Linux, anything that starts with dot, it is hidden. That's why you can't see it here. So now I've enabled hidden to show hidden files. So this .git contains a lot of things which we are not going to talk about in this tutorial. Well, I myself probably haven't. You never really need any reason to go there. So we don't actually need to do anything with it. So let's just hide them back. So if I run ls now, it's still the same files. But to see it, it's not showing those gits, right? Just attach additional files like -a is going to list everything for you, regardless of the file type, either hidden or not. If you put a -a, you can see there's a dot in front. This is the current directory. the parent directory. You know, I said two dots. If you were to do cd dot dot, it shows the previous directory, which is desktop, and then this is just like an alias for desktop, this is an alias for the current directory, and then this is index.html, and this is one. If you were to append L to the flag, is another L, those lists. We have what, don't mind, I just like tapping it that way, it works the same way anyway. Either apply, it is LA or AL, it's not, there are two different flags, there is A, there is L, does the same thing. They are just different, but you can combine them. So as I said earlier, ls is the actual tool. In this case, A is a flag, L is a flag. A list everything, show everything no matter what. L in display in list format. As you can see, without the L format is listing it just like this. So what I talked about permissions are these ones at the front. These are the permissions. These are the permissions. These are the permissions that we have. So for this, anyone you see with a D in front is a folder. As I told you, we are inside the folder, so dot is the main, is current folder we are, so that's why there is a D in front of it. For the next one, dot dot, which is desktop, there's a D in front of it. For the next one, which is dot git, it's a folder, that's why there's a D in front of it. For the next one, which is index, it is not a folder, you can see it is a dash. For one, it is a folder, that's why there's a dot in front of it. So the other ones here are just permissions on three different type of users, let's just say three different categories of people. As you can see, we have RWX, R-X, R-X. So every three letters is the permission level for a group. So the first person is the user. The first permission is for the user, which is me. The second one is for the group, which can be any, or is for the group, and then the third one is for others. So me as the owner of this file, as you can see, this is the user, which is me, and the others, which is the group, which is also me. Well, this is not bad in any scenario, but this is not what we're here to talk about for this project. But R means read, W means write, X means execute. So if you have R and W and X, which means you can read the file, you can write the file, you can execute the file. I, as the owner of these files, I can do whatever I want with it. But the group level, even though I'm still the owner, there's still some permission with it. And then the group level can be your browsers and the rest, and others too. Well, but this is not what we want to talk about. I need to take a refresher on before I can take somebody that one anyway. But just to understand, for this one now, even though it's a folder and I'm the owner, I can't execute it. It's not really a folder. What is, it's not really, I'm sorry, maybe if it were to be .exe in Windows now, you have to make it executable before you can run it. On Linux, we have .sh files, .run files, and .geb files, or just like installers. Sure, you get those ones. You have to be able to execute it, like double click and run kind of thing. Write means you have to, I can open it and then write it. Read means I can see what's inside. Anybody can read anything anyways. Let me just go back to what I was saying. So after doing that, so going back to git, the next command I'm going to show you, the first one is git init, right? If you press tab 2, you get autocomplete. Without the command, if I press tab double times, this is all the commands, additional commands I can run on top of git. We'll only be touching a few of them, not all of them today. But some of them I've never used before anyways. But so the first one is git init, which we have run already. If you try to run it again anyways, if you try to run this again, it will tell you that it is reinitializing the existing repository. It is already there, so why do you need to run it again? So the next command is git status. It shows you different things, different information. It shows you more than this. As we go on, you will notice that it's more than this actually. So we are on git, we are on branch master. We have something called branches in git. Branches help us to split our projects. Even though it's the same thing, we can split it into two categories, more like saying two different copies. Even though you're still the same directory, you can work with two different, you can work on two different things at the same time, and it's still the same project, and it's still the same set of files. We'll get to that. The next one is no commit yet. Commit is just like let's say a stage where after you have done something, You know, it's just like typing your project reports. You have written it to a particular stage, but your supervisor needs to check it and maybe correct some things in it. You can say that's a commit. So after you do everything, maybe your supervisor needs to read the hard copy. So after you save all the changes, you print it. That is like committing your changes. So committing your changes by saving and printing and then submitting it to your supervisor for you to make correction. That's like commit. So the untracked files, shows you the files that are not being tracked at all by Git. Git knows they exist, but it's not tracking the changes inside them. So even if you change or mistakenly, if this were to be your report and mistakenly delete everything, Git only knows the files exist. Git is not concerned about what is inside because you never told it to track it. Notice, track. Never told it to track it. So we have tracking, we have staging. Staging is after you have told Git to track. So Git adds it. Once Git starts tracking the file and you make changes, next thing is to add it to your staging area. Then you commit and then you push. You get all of that. So to add, it's even giving you a suggestion to add the file. So nothing added to commit, but untracked files present. You know, we already talked about that. So to add this file now, so that Git can start tracking it, all we need to do is run git add index.html. Once you add it, let's run git status again. So notice that's the second command, git add, and the name of the file. It puts the file in the staging area. Let me show you by running git status. Git status shows you the current status of your project. So this now is telling us that on Git branch master there are no commits yet, which is true, and then changes to be committed. Changes to be committed, you can remove them if you don't want to. So now it is green. Notice the color difference. This is red and this is green. So this is green means that Git is tracking it, and you notice that there's a change in that file. So I have added it now, and then I can then go on to commit because there are no longer changes. The current changes it notes about. So but for this one, let me just open this and show you what happens when I make changes in the file. So open with another one. Let me just open with this text editor. So for this now, let me just type hello world and then save it. If I go back and run git status here, you can see it's telling me there are changes to be committed, and then it's telling me changes not staged for commit. I think there's a staging area. This one is already in the staging area, but this one is not. Why are there two index.html? This one is the new file and this one is modified. As you notice, the layer we added it when there's nothing inside, so it's new when there was nothing inside. But the new file, it noticed that something has changed, but it has not recorded that change. For it to record that change, all you need to do is add it again. Git add and then index.html. If you run git status again, what you see now is the same thing you have from earlier from this place. So now it is aware of the current change, which is hello world.html. Hello world is inside the file, so it's not it now notes that there is a change inside, so it's not it's going to save that particular change. But this one can easily be lost. If we're going to push your Git projects to someone else, there's no way the person can see hello world inside, because Git itself, you have not committed the change. Like I told you earlier, just like you writing your report, you can't just tell HOD when HOD asks you if you submitted your report. You can't just tell him yes if your supervisor has not seen it and accepted that you have actually submitted the report, because you can go at your back and ask your supervisor if you have submitted. If your supervisor says no, it's the same thing as you have not done anything. So for you to track this kind of changes, you have to commit it. You get me? You have to commit it. So to commit it, there is a command called git commit. But this, if you run git commit, it's going to open up a file for you to type in. For you to type in your commit message. Commit message is more like the description of what you have done for that current feature. Sure, you get. you are submitting your report, even though that's not the first time you are submitting it, it's just a review. So what did you change? Did you make the corrections he asked to you make? You just make a summary, a summarized description. It can be lengthy, no one cares. Okay, so I have made a correction to the chapter 3 on methodologies or whatever, so just make it. But there's a short way of doing it. If I run this, it's open up this window for me to type in what I want, but I actually don't want this, so I'm closing that. You can use it, you are fine, you are good to go, it works just fine. But a shorter way of doing it, instead of popping up a window and going back, is just run git m and then apply a message flag. Dash m is the message, so you can type the message inside 2 double quotes here. So just type the message. Okay, I added hello world inside index.html, or maybe this first time we are doing it, so we can just say first commit. You will probably see initial commit on most screen. It's just a suggestion from git, from git. So first commit message, so we write that. So if I'm going to run git status again, what you see is on branch, we are on branch master and nothing to commit. The work tree is clean. Why don't you see index.html? I'll get to it. I told you there's a master. Once if you create a new project, we have just one branch by default, which is called the master branch. You can create other branches as you like. And how many files does it have? You notice that there's one file and there's one insertion. This insertion is per line, whatever change per line. So we only have one line change, and then it's created in mode blah blah like that. This is the hash value for representing this commit. So, and the status shows that there's nothing on the branch, everything is clean, even though they say an index file there, but that's not what git is tracking. Git is only tracking changes. Right now there are no changes and all the previous changes have been committed. That's why the nothing to commit and the work tree is clean. If I'm going to show you the commit messages, you can run git log. Sorry, that's another command, you might not need it often. Git log, and this is the commit message. As I told you earlier, this is just the hash, it is just the beginning. It's a very long hash value, and we are inside master and the person. So for collaboration, you will notice it has my name and my email and the time it was posted and the time the changes was the commit was done and the commit message itself. So for a project who has so many people on it, you will know the person that did what at any particular time. This commits hash allows you, this tracking of commits of your commits allows you to go back to a previous day where everything was working fine in case of a break in the code. So you can roll back to any previous day, like you were okay, you submitted a new project to your supervisor, but he told you no, the last one was even better. How would you revert back your Microsoft Office docs, even though you didn't create a second copy, and you cannot be creating different copies at different times? Sure, you get. So in that kind of scenario, even though Microsoft Word has this kind of feature that lets you roll back, it also track the changes. That's if you have enabled it. So for this kind of, but that's not what we're talking about. I won't be showing how to reload or roll back right now. You can just check some quick tutorials on Stack Overflow on how to do that. So if you make more changes, like adding just an exclamation mark, and you save it, if you go back and run git status here, as you can see here, it's telling us we're on branch master, right? Changes not changed for commit, blah blah blah, like we have seen this before, and it still does the file has been modified. So I'm going to tell you, so now to add that again, just add git add. So I'm going to tell you 2 different ways you can add, because what if you have 1,000 files that you want to add, which doesn't make sense anyway. But if you have tens of 10, like in multiples of 10s, multiples of 10, you can use a dot. Dot adds any file regardless of whatever is starting it. So imagine, so okay, there's one called star. Let me use this as an example. Star git add asterisk, add all files. But you remember when I was listing the directory structure the other time with ls only, it doesn't list files that start with dots. Dot on Linux is hidden. Check it. So to include everything, including dots of dots file names, to use a dot, it adds everything at once. So if I run git status now, you see it to be green. So it is now green, telling us it is tracking the changes, and it has added this to staging area. Next thing is for us to commit, like I said earlier, commit -m. Then I can just call it made changes. So it notice there's one addition, there's one deletion. I don't know why there is one deletion. Why is there one? Probably there was a space only after. I don't get why. Let's just leave that before. There was one insertion which is on just on this same line. There was all just one file change. Okay, one deletion. Okay, it is tracking the changes as per file. So for it, hello what was deleted and hello what exclamation was inserted. I think that's it. That's it. If you use a visualizer or a tool to visualize it, if you notice it has two lines. One where this was deleted and one where everything was added. So next thing is for us to push, like I said. But pushing, this is our local repository. If you lose your laptop like this, you have lost the project, because there's no way you can retrieve this even though you are using Git. Git is on your system. But there are websites that allows us to use Git, which is GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab. There's so many of them. Don't even know all of them. So people set up their own personal ones in their own company if you can manage it and all that. Okay, so to get to that, we need to go to github.com. So we go to github.com. You have registered an account already. Next thing is to create a new project. So create a new repository. Create a new repository. Type the name of the repository. So I'm just going to use test. So test, type the description. It's optional if you want to, no problem. Public and private. Public means anybody on GitHub or has access to the internet can see these projects. Private means only you and the people you have given access to become your collaborators can see the projects. Do you understand that? Okay, so next one is readme step. Here you can choose to ignore it or set it up like this. Mostly people will have added readme from inside the project from there, but readme is just a way to describe your project. For example, the readme that comes with this example project is a Laravel project. Readme that comes with Laravel shows that this is about Laravel, blah blah blah. This is readme. So if you see this on anybody's repo, this is automatically loaded from the readme file. readme.md. MD stands for Markdown. You know, HTML it's a markup language. This is a Markdown language. It's kind of similar to HTML, but the syntax are just different. You get. So it does all the styling, blah blah blah, and blah 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 like that. So you can also create this. Also, we have contribute.md, which I've also added in our project. So there are different purposes. You can use different names. It's not really anything special. It's just convention, and then maybe setup dots to set up our project. This is our projects that you're looking at. Actually, these are our projects. So then let's go back to this. So about these two other options right here, git ignore, I'm going to get to it. So to ignore files, like for example, if you are using a PHP, you are working on a PHP project, Git is not a Google Drive or Google Cloud account for you to upload your pictures and images and videos to. Git is just supposed to track the changes and store the files for your code base for you. So for example, everybody will have to download the project. Then why ship vendor folders to them? Composer is responsible for hosting all the packages, so you don't need to push all your packages onto Git, because once the person downloads the code, all it needs to do is run composer install to install the project. Same thing applies for JavaScript projects with the npm modules are already online. You don't need to ship it to Git again. You are not changing the files. It is not being tracked. You don't need to track them with your own Git repo, so you don't need that. And license, there are different types of licensing. You might do a free project, which is public by the way, and then give it a kind of private, like a kind of license. There are different types of license. Maybe the one that allows people to copy your code, but they must put your name on it. The ones that they must put copyright sheets. You get, not about tutorial today. So just going to create a tutorial. Also note, because I didn't select the readme there, it assumes I'm probably a first time user, and then does this. It gives me the setup code. You can see the first one. You can see a quick setup. If you have done this kind of thing before, a quick setup means just copy this one and then go to your command line and then clone it. You get. So the next one is here, or create a new repository on the command line. It assumes you have not even created a repo, but you notice we have done this. We have done just this, git init, and we have added all our files. Even though for this step it is only telling you to add your readme and then commit your readme with message of first commit. We have touched all this. This is only printing this text, which is just like saying h1 tags around text inside readme.md. This is the markdown format for h1, just representative, sure. So the next command, as you can see, these last two lines is the same thing as this. You can just copy this, but let me just tell you what this is doing. Git remote add origin and the link. For on your own page, I'm sure this is what you're going to see, not this one. This is HTTPS, fine for everyone, works for everyone. But there's another way for connecting. HTTP is not the only protocol we have. We also have SSH. As you can see, the URLs are different. This is one and this is another one. I use SSH. Why I use SSH? Number one, you don't need to type passwords all the time. I will show you why that is, but not in this tutorial. But once you start to push, it will tell you to enter your password before you can push. But this one eliminates that. Seriously, it eliminates that. And I think for a private repo, you might need to use SSH too. I'm not so, it's been a long time I've been using SSH. I'm not sure if private repos need SSH only. I think the password should be just fine, even if it's a private repo anyway, since you are the owner. But one thing, you already have Git installed. You are still going to set up configuration variables like Git. I think there's a set config variable. I'm not sure. Git config. To push to GitHub, you need to set up your Git config that set. I think it's a user.name, user.name. If you want to push and you don't have it set, it will tell you the command to run and what to change. It's just like this, as it is giving us hints. It will give you an hint if you have not set it up before. I think the first Hello World project you did on your own project, on your own account, you uploaded the directory and then directly to GitHub. But for this, you need the command line. So git remote add, we are adding our remote URL. I'm going to be using SSH for this. So git remote add origin is more like an alias for our online URL, our online repo. Notice this is our offline repo. This is our offline repo. This is the one we want to push online for safekeeping. So git, we want to add git remote add origin is just the nickname, and then this, because we can add several URLs supposed to. So you get, and I want to push to GitHub, push to my server, push to our company server, and then push to Bitbucket, whatever. I don't know why you want to do that, but it's very, very possible. So we're just going to do a copy and paste. Works just fine. So to check that it has been added, you can run git remote -v. So we have two different URL, two different tags here, even though it's the same URL. Origin is the nickname, but we have fetch and we have push. I will explain what these are by the time we get to it. But as you can see, this is push. So push, we are setting the origin master. This command, what it's doing is pushing. We already have a master branch here, git branch. If you run git branch, it will list, you only have master, which is default. So it is going to push your master branch to the master branch that you have online. By default, I told you, once you create a Git repository, it creates a master branch as a default branch. So that's what this is going to do. After you run these ones, this -u flag is setting this one, this master branch here, to be the master branch here. That's why you need to add this for the first run. But subsequent runs, you don't need this. You really need to run git push. But if we're to create a new branch, you need to run the same command with the name of the branch that you have pushed, so that it can push to that same branch that is online. So for this, we're going to be running this too. So note, when it is done, I'm going to show you what happens. So compressing, blah blah blah, just logs. So this is what I was talking about. New branch master, the one offline to the one online. Branch master set up to track remote branch master from origin. This is our local one, this is our remote one. Once I refresh, you will notice we have our index.html file there already with our commit message, and we only have 2 commits. You notice the first one that we did, you can click on the commit to see the number of commits, and you can see what changed there. For example, if I was supposed to view the code here, notice the hash value too is the same thing. So I go to any commit, I can check what changed in any file by going to history. So if I click on history, click on that particular commit message, look at this one. We deleted, like I said earlier, we deleted this, that's why it is in red, and we added this. Even though you notice that the change only was on this, that's why the green highlight is deeper on the exclamation mark here. So you can view what changed. This is useful for tracking when the error started or whatever you want to track during the course of the history of the file. So going back here, now we have only just the master branch. As you can see, just one branch and one contributor. Other ones will be explained later, but this is just a basic tutorial. Read me if you didn't add it. You can add it here. You can also use it to make live changes to the file. You can use it to make live changes. You can edit the file here. Once you edit the file here, you can pull your changes here. Notice how many commands we have run: init, commit, status, log, and push. And what else? And then push. I think that's all. And then this remote add. You only need to run this once. You don't need to ever run it again. Once you run it once, that's all. You don't need to, except you want to change it. Yes, except you want to change it. So we already have push. Pulling is when you update your, for example, let me cite two examples. You have two work computers. You have one at work and you have one at home. Imagine you are working on the same project at work and at home. You work at work and you push your changes to the remote repo, but when you get home, do you use a flash drive to copy your project from the office home? No. What you do is you just pull all the changes that you have from online. So assume this is my own work computer and I'm currently at home, and the changes I made it here on my work computer. So let's say, okay, it's not Hello World, it's Hello Webansky. So it's Hello Webansky. So the next thing, my commit message, change word to my name. Sorry. Change word to my nickname. So if you want to add an extension duration, like I said, add it. It's your choice, complete choice. And then next thing, I've done, I made the change. I'm having the second account there because of OU account, student accounts, blah, 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 blah. So once you commit this and then the changes are there, if you go back to your main code page, you would see that you now have 3 commits. But if I was supposed to go here and I run git status, I still have nothing, right? And also if I'm supposed to view the changes inside my file, I still have the same one, which means I am yet to update my project, right? Okay, so how do we fix this? You notice earlier there's something called fetch. With fetch also, if you run git fetch, it fetches the updates from the remote URL and compares it with your offline URL to tell you to report if there's an update to make. So but pull will pull all the changes from online and overwrite the files offline so that you have the current working directory too, which is the same thing as the online one. Just for example, now the other command we are running now is the fetch command. If I run fetch command, it goes online to the main one, goes online to this one, fetches everything, and then comes back. So after fetching all this, all you just need to run now is run git status when fetch is done. Once you run git status, it is telling us here that your branch is behind origin master by 1 commit, which is right, because offline we have just 2 commits, but online we have how many commits? We have 3 commits. But here now, just to make your changes, all you need to do is run git pull. Pull takes the changes. Let me tell you what git pull does. Let me break it into 2. Git pulls the repo, it fetches from online, git pull fetches from online and merge the online one into the offline one. So it's more like 2 things happening behind the scene, but 1 command for all. But if we're going to merge it, you can just merge origin master together, because check this out, we have 1 branch, right? So you can merge your master branch, which is online one, because it is also fetching the changes from your online one into a branch here too. I think there's a way to view that. Checkout dash b. So we have origin branch, origin master too, but it's not one of the branches you created yourself. This one too is actually on your laptop. Once you run a fetch once, you don't need to go online to run git pull. You can just merge this directly into master. Check it. We're not going to do that here. I'm just going to run git pull once to make you see it. So git pull. So notice the file here as it's going to change. So there are changes have been made on this file. This is just a funny text editor. It's not wise enough to reload by itself, but just to show you in the terminal before I close and open it, so that you notice that it's changed. There's a way to just, so as you can see here, fast forwarded index.html, two things happened, one file change, index, insertion and deletion. If I'm going to run git log now, as you can see it, so now I have change, oh it's supposed to be change this word to nickname anyways. So, and I am the one that made the change, see, because it's still my account, and this is my local system. If I run the status now, the thing I see here is your branch is up to date with origin master. It is up to date. I don't need to pull, I don't need to fetch, I don't need to do anything. All I just need to do is continue with my work, right? Let me just close this, and okay, as you can see, before I even close it, it's noticed there something has changed. Just reload. So we have the same thing back. So if there was work system and home system, you can do this. It's just fine. So back. So that is just the basics of Git. But as per collaboration, you need to have different branches. There's a possibility that there are just two or just few people working on the project. They can all push to the master branch. But in order not to cause problems for one other person and to be able to track and be able to match conflicts with ease, and so it is advisable to always create branches. There are other reasons why you can create a branch. You can create different branches for different features by different people at the same time, and they work on it at the same time without affecting other people. Check it. So for our code base, for example, somebody might be working on logging in, somebody might be working on logout, somebody might be working on reset password, even though that's supposed to be worked on by the same person, for God's sake. But you get the point. So three different people working on it, they can create different branches, which are login branch, sign up branch, and forget password branch, and they would not disturb each other at all. To create a branch, there is a short command to create a batch and switch to it. So to create a branch, so git like I said, check out, but there's a flag -b. -b means create a new branch if it doesn't exist. For example, if I want to check out to, let's say, login branch now, the branch doesn't exist. That's why there's an error actually. But if we're going to create it, that has a flag of -b flag to create it and switch to it. Checkout is okay. I want to check out something. Yeah, switch to it anyway. I want to go and check out OAU today. If the school has opened, you have to go to OAU, right? Yeah, you have to go into the login branch. So you enter this one. It says it has switched to login branch. Advantages of branches: we can be working on. I can change Webansky to the name of this branch, and the main master branch only sees Webansky. It doesn't concern him if there is a login branch or there is login. The Webansky has been changed to login. So right now, if I run git branch, you see we have login and master. Right now, this is the current branch, selected branch that I'm working with. That's why it has this asterisk and it is color green. It might be a different color shade depending on the color scheme of your terminal. You get that? So if I want to switch back to master, check out master. Now I'm back into master. If I run git branch, you can see it's changed. So let's go back to login, and then let's go back to login. Git. So I'm inside login. Just to demonstrate, we have the same thing. Git log, same commit messages. Creating a branch copies everything from the master branch into that new branch for you. So you have the current and updated changes. You get me? So like I said earlier, you run git status, there's nothing on branch login and no working tree and anything. But if you want to make changes, you can go here. Let's say we type login and we save it. Notice this, git status. We have this. You can do everything you can do with any other branch, just like we said. You can add, you can commit, you and say maybe it changed Webansky to login. So once you change Webansky to login now and you do a git status, it's still on branch login, but there's nothing to commit. Check it. We already have a commit message, but we have one commit to push. You know that. So if you run a git log here, you see that we have an extra one. But notice we are inside login and not master branch. Let me show you what happens when we are in master branch, because this one doesn't reload that fast. Let me just show you what is inside login right now. Cat index.html. See, that's hello login, right? Let me change to the master branch. Git checkout and then master. So when I switch to master, I'm inside master, right? Git status, it's told me it's even up to date with origin master. Notice login is still offline. There's no login branch online. That's why it is not telling us that it is up to date with origin master. It only told us that it was just nothing to commit. You get me? It only told us that there was nothing to commit, which is just fine. So it told us work tree is clean. So, but if I run git log here, you can see it said changes word to my nickname. That's the last thing it got. And if I run the same thing, you can see it's hello Webansky. Let me try to close this. Okay, now we are inside it. I reload. So it is hello Webansky. Let me show you. Git checkout login. Let me switch back to it and reload. As you can see, we're in login, and then git checkout master reload. That is Webansky. So there are two different batches and they don't affect each other. So for pushing online, like I said earlier, sorry, okay, git checkout, we have to go back to login. Like I said earlier, to push for the first time online if the branch doesn't exist, that's why you need that U flag. Git push dash U, right? Dash U. Origin is the nickname of our online repo. Origin. And what's right now? We only have to push to login and push to login. So right now, if I go to my browser and go and reload, let this be complete. We're inside another branch. That's why that's told me to reload. So now you can see branch login set up to track remote branch login. Notice we only have one branch here. Let me just reload, even though it told us there's as you can see, because this is a single, I think it's automatically updating in the background. But if I was supposed to reload this, these numbers will change to 2. Now we have 2 branches, and then see this, we are in login master. Why this is telling me is you recently published a change, because master is the default branch. Master is supposed to be the default branch anyways. Other branches can be matched to it, or we can send a pull request into it. As you can see, if I was supposed to click and pull, it told me okay, there's a change. I can send a pull request which can be matched into master, because it is comparing with its master and it is ahead of master by how many commits? 1 commit. Let's go back to the main code and show you what it is. I have 3 commits here. I'm inside this master branch. As you can see, there's login here. So let me show you what's inside index.html. We have hello Webansky, right? So okay, let's go back to this. Go back to master. Go into the login branch and then click. You can see this one. It told us your branch is 1 commit ahead of master. It is actively tracking it, and it was made 4 minutes ago. Okay, index.html. This is hello login, right? Okay, so sorry. So it is tracking all the changes actively, and it can tell you when changes was made, or if it was correct, or if it's not, and all those. So I think we can stop. Okay, for our main code, just to demonstrate, we have a master branch and we have a development branch. Let me just move this here for you to see. This is our master branch, and then this is our development branch. The development branch is what we will be working on actively. The master branch is what we are going to be sending pull requests to store the last code. So you are not going to be making changes on master branch. So once you clone this repo, you switch to development branch to work on development branch. Are you getting me? You switch to development package or development search. So this is the one that will be pushed online. This is the one that will be tested until everything works fine. Then we now merge it into this. So I'll be the one in charge of merging it into this. And only thing you want to do is the development branch. Make sure you have everything. We could have just left our master branch like this, and once you have a pull request, set it into master branch, and then we work on it like that. But just to have a testing environment that is automatically different and we can test out new features or something, we have this. We can push those two different instances on two different servers to test it out with the same data. You get me? So now we have this and we have this, right? So I'm going to show you how to create the pull request into this. Right now both of them are the same. Let me just leave it. But if I want to make sure that master has these changes, I'm going to go to login and create a pull request. It's easy. Compare and pull. Compare. This is download, not this. So you can click it here. You can click it here. This one will automatically pop up. It does the same thing like you want. So I click this. You can add your message. It's just like a commit message too. So then your comments, blah blah blah. In a big corporation or organization where they use Git so much, and they probably write out an extensive way to collaborate, so you have to write out everything you did with pictures to show that it's working and all of that. It's just 12 words for now. You don't need to write extensive crazy comments. But if you need a comment for me to see, because I'll be the one to match the pull request, so the only thing you do is to create a pull request. Once you create it, leave it. I will see it, I will review it, and I will match it. You get me? If there are changes to be made, I will tell you to make the changes and maybe create a pull request or just update the current one that you have. As you can see, these are the changes, and these are the changes from login to different branch, a master and then login branch. So if I create a pull request now, creating a pull request is telling the administrator that, oh, I've made these changes and I want to merge it into the current one. But in your own scenario, what you can do is create a new branch entirely. You have permissions to push to it's my account, but you have permissions to push to it. You can create your new branch, maybe a branch, whatever feature name, maybe branch login feature or branch Samuel for your own personal one. It depends on you. So but once you are done with that feature, create a pull request into development branch, not into master branch. Like I said, not into master branch, it's into development branch. If you push it into master branch, I'll probably reject it. You get? So inside your pull requests, you can see what's changed, blah blah blah. This is because I am the owner. That's why I can just click on merge one time. You also see merge because you have the permission to. You get me? You also see merge and squash. Well, you only need this for now. Leave the other ones alone. But in another organization, you will probably not have this kind of access, and you will probably be accessing it from another branch entirely. This is a private repo. You have access to directly. But on a public repo, except you are added as a collaborator like you were done, you can't do this. You have to fork the repo. Fork it this way. Once you fork the repo, there are nobody here yet because it's private. But you can actually fork it. You can too. But once you fork the repo, you will have the same copy of the same code, and you can do anything with your own master or with your own development branch. But the problem you are going to have is you have to constantly make sure that your branch is up to date with my own branch, because yours is a copy of my own repo. So but we'll get to that earlier. But this is how I'm only taking this pass in line with what we are going to do with our own projects right now. So you don't need to fork the repo. You can make it directly on this project. I think we should be able to probably just create an organization and have it inside the organization. Then that way it's going to change what happens. But I think you still need to pay for organizations and stuff like that. So let's still leave it as this. Except you want to pay, I think it's $5 per month. I think. I'm not so sure. Okay. So just like that, you create a new branch. When you are done, send a pull request into development branch, just like this. Just like we have done here. There is a pull request. I can see it. All you just have to do is you leave it. I'm going to review it and then close it when I'm done. Closing might mean I reject it or I merge it. You get me? Closing might mean I reject it or I merge it. If I merge it, it's going to overwrite the files that are the same, that changes have been made in master branch. So which means I'm going to have hello login in master. And for this, if I close it, it means I rejected it. So for this now, I'm going to merge the pull request. Leave the message as it is. I'm going to merge. Once I merge, it gives me an offer to delete branch. You can do, if it was a feature branch, feature login branch, you don't need to start working or sign up inside the login branch. Just conventions. There's no actual standard. So you can delete the branch instantly if you want to or not. No one minds. So right now, I'm just going to leave it like that. And then you can immediately revert or whatever. So if I go to my code now, okay, you see there are 0 pull requests because it has been closed. It has been closed. That's why there are 0 pull requests. Why is this thing slow down? Okay, so it has been closed. No open pull requests. So if I go to my code and I go to index.html, as you can see 11 minutes ago, but the changes here 11 minutes ago was when the commit was made, but the last changes was 1 minute ago, which was when I matched the pull request, which is the first pull request. As you can see, the highlighted stuff over there, it is from login into master. The arrow is backwards from login. I can view the message changed, blah blah blah, like that. So if I view this, it's going to be hello login. So like I said, if you changes have been made online, to get it offline, if you run git status, we're inside our login branch, but login branch is still the same, right? Login branch is still the same, but see, if I run git fetch, just to show you, login branch is still the same. If I run git fetch, and I run git status, there is no changes. It says it is still up to date with login. But once I switch to checkout, I switch to master. As I switch to master, it told me that your branch is now behind origin master by 2 commits. You know, changing to login and the pull request that I made, those are 2 different commits. You get? So all I need to do is just run git pull. I already run git fetch. That's why this is like this. Let me show you. As you can see, so I already run git fetch, so I don't need to run it again. It affected all of them at the same time, all the branches at the same time. So next thing I need to do is just git pull. So let's just switch to this so that you can see it is still Webmaster, right? Enter. So changes have been made. I reload, it is now login. So we now have the same thing that we have online offline now. So if I run git log, as you can see, the pull request that was matched and then the changes that was matched. So as you can see, this is from master and this is from where? Login. As you can see, it is tracking everything, so we can know what happened when and where the thing messed up. You get? Also, if it was supposed to be this, I can show you how to merge locally. You have 2 different branches and you want to merge them locally. You can go to git login, git checkout login. I'm moving to login now. I'm moving to login, so I might change. Okay, this is login. I save it. Git status now. We have this, right? So why don't I add everything and add commit messages? Git commit our messages. Let me just say removed hello. First I removed hello and I write git status. I'm fine, right? I'm fine. So the next thing I need to do is, okay, I don't want to push this. Maybe I just want to push the one in the master instead. So I go to git checkout master. I'm inside master, right? Just to show you. Okay. So next thing I want to merge. Git merge. What do I want to merge from? I want to merge in login. So you can switch to the branch you want to merge into, then merge the branch into it. So I'm inside master and I want to merge login into it. So I merge login, like I said. So now you have the message merge branch login. You are good to go. You get? So sorry. So you are good to go. Then whatever you need. So shift. Sorry. X save. That is Control X. Like I see for exit. Then just Y, and then you want to append, just press enter. So now git status, this now is ahead of master branch 2 because I've made changes offline. That's why it's telling me it is ahead. You know, if I make changes online or from another system entirely, to tell me that this one is behind. So I don't need to do git push so that it can have it. So like this one now, reload. So master also will have login. So if I'm supposed to go do a git push now, so what I did locally for margin is the same as doing a pull request online on GitHub. So if I run a git push now, git push, I already run git push. If I run git status here, as you can see, everything is up to date. So all I need to do now is go online. If I was to reload this, okay, we're on the same page now. So just reload this, you will see that we already have login, which is from the master branch. But you notice I only match login into master here, but I didn't push the content of the login branch. So if I want to view the one in the login branch, it's to be hello login. So I think this explains a lot. I think I've taken some time. I think this should clarify some things. So if you have any questions, you can just ask.